Isn't today the first day of turkey season?
Yes.
Maybe that's what happened.
Okay, it's 2:00. I'll call the meeting to order. I just want to welcome you all to this afternoon's special meeting. I'm very pleased also share our council meetings that are now being live streamed. I think that's a great initiative and that has been in progress and reflects our commitment to transparency and accessibility to our community. You can join us live or watch the recordings anytime on your YouTube channel. I encourage everyone to subscribe to stay informed and also stay engaged. We just received notification that our auditor is on his way. He's running a few minutes late. So we're going to start with the agenda items, and when he comes, we'll stop and let him give the audit for the 2025 audit. You all received the agenda. Before I ask for a motion for acceptance, there's a couple things I want to add. Under new business 2, I want you to add an E. We'll call it Mount Carlton support. Councillor Eagles has a letter that we'll deal with. And also F, add an F, be in closed session, and it'll be land. Anybody else? I entertain a motion of acceptance of the agenda.
I'll make a motion that we accept the agenda.
Have a seconder?
I'll second
The seconding on the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, say nay. Motion carried. Do we have any conflict of interest today? To be declared. Okay, the first item under new business was Andy Lenahan from Lenahan McCain, so we're going to be waiting on him for a few minutes. As I said, he is en route. We had notification at 1:12 that he's on his way, so it'll be 2:15 or so. So we'll go to item number B. Carol Marsh requests the removing of the Lord's Prayer to a moment of silence. Councillor Wright.
I've been putting a lot of thought into this, so I just jotted down a few things I'd like to put forward before anything. I'd like to speak for a moment on the value of starting our meetings as we have for many years. To me, this tradition isn't about excluding anyone. It's about the spirit in which we enter this room. Our work here is a heavy responsibility. We aren't just managing budgets. We are stewards of this community's future. Taking a moment at the start of our session provides a necessary pause. It asks us to set aside our personal agendas and recognize that we are part of something much larger than ourselves. This practice is a link to our history and a reminder of the values of service and integrity that have guided those who sat in the seats long before us. It sets a tone and reminds us to act with humility and a focus on the common good. In a world that is often moving too fast, I believe there is immense value in holding on to a practice that calls us to be our best selves for the people we represent. And that's my feelings on that.
Anybody else?
Well, I have a question on that. So are you saying you want to keep the Lord's Prayer, or are you saying a moment of reflection is what you want?
I'm saying keep the Lord's Prayer.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. I disagree.
Fine.
I think a moment of reflection would do the same thing as what you just said. And I just feel that the Lord's Prayer does not belong in politics. So I would go with the moment of reflection.
Well, when you're from a family like mine, you never turn down the Lord's Prayer for any kind of prayer. I don't think you should. So I'm all for the Lord's Prayer for sure.
Well, we'll keep going around the table, and I'll speak in next. I think this country was built on belief in God and prayer. We have to look at the Second World War, when the chaplain went out every morning and read the Lord's Prayer to the men and women that served our country. To me, that says a lot. That we cannot, we can stop for a minute to give the Lord's Prayer. I'm all for the Lord's Prayer.
Personally, I am for the Lord's Prayer. I believe this town has been built on tradition. There was a time when there was more churches in this community than there were gas stations or anything else in the community. I was brought up doing it. We did it in schools. I understand the world is changing. When we look at council, council's supposed to be neutral no matter what. And when we look at everything that we've been looking at, say, whether it be the pride flag, whether it be the Lord's Prayer, or anything else that's come across in front of us at a meeting, you can't be neutral in one spot and not at another. So I guess we need to think about what our district would want as a whole and not just personal belief. If it was personal belief, I'd be all for it. I wish I would have had the agenda earlier because I would have went and asked people in my ward what they would desire, and I would have a better answer. So I guess it goes further than just the Lord's Prayer. It would be everything.
Councillor Eagles?
Well, everybody knows my beliefs, and I've been here probably the longest around council, not around council, but here in the village. I remember when all the 7 churches were in town. I was disappointed when they had to tear one down because of reasons. It's a historic building. It's a historic time, and I'm all in for the Lord's Prayer.
Councillor Dwight?
I also support the Lord's Prayer. I believe the Lord's Prayer represents the best of us. I think the values that it represents, the belief in community, the belief in fairness, the belief in something bigger than ourselves is very important. I understand that if a person was Muslim or some other religion, that perhaps that would not mean quite so much. And I would like to think that if we had a person of a different religion on council or a significant part of the community, that we would take that into consideration and perhaps include other prayers as well, or perhaps go back to reconsider a moment of reflection. But as it stands right now, I think that we need to remember every time we come together that all any differences that we have within ourselves or any conflicts that we have within ourselves are irrelevant in this setting, because I think this setting is designed to reflect what the community wants, what is best for the community, and the fact that we can all talk to each other pleasantly about such subjects. So I believe in keeping the Lord's Prayer.
Thank you. Thank you for all for your input. I think the decision is to keep the Lord's Prayer, is what I'm hearing, out of all the councils. So,
So do we have a vote on that?
yeah, we can.
Are we allowed to?
We're not changing nothing.
Okay.
If we were going to change something, we'd have to have a motion.
Yeah.
But where we're not changing anything, we don't have to have a motion.
Well, I would like to register my name vote.
Sure.
Did you want to do the vote then?
No? We'll have that recorded.
Okay.
You got that? Okay. Okay, Andy's made it.
Yes, sorry. I thought I was gonna make it just in time. I got behind a logging truck about 15 minutes out.
Andy's the,
15 grand.
is our auditor. He's from Lenahan McCain and Associates. He's going to present the 2025 audit. So Andy, the floor is yours.
Thanks very much, Mr. Mayor. I've got copies to hand out, and I assumed we would do kind of the usual presentation. We usually discuss the financial results for the year, the financial position of the community at the end of 2025, the new assets that were invested in during the year, the status on loans, those kinds of things. So just as a reminder, that's kind of those are the highlights of the things we try and review. I'll maybe just hand out a good 5 or so. Good. My fancy travel case. That's actually just so I can get from the other things that Kristen sent up, like to be some for us or for you. So thanks for having me up this afternoon. We're pleased to have recently completed our fifth, as a firm, our fifth audit of the consolidated financial statements, the third for the District of Pictou Valley. I often start with what is a financial audit, because you hear the term audit here and there, but really, in, I think, layman's terms, we carry out procedures as the external audit firm for the community to form an opinion as to whether the financial statements that were just handed out are presented fairly in all what we call material or significant respects. We test a sample of transactions, but a small percentage. We obtain confirmations from banks or lenders, etc. Generally speaking, we use procedures to provide a basis for our opinion. So I'll start there if I could. Our audit opinion is, let's see, 3, 4, 5, about the fourth page in, sorry. We'll only spend a second, maybe, or not a few seconds, on the report page. So the second paragraph of that report page, which is the first page you'll come to that has an awful lot of verbiage on it. At the top it says independent auditors report. So even though there's a lot there, the second paragraph says, in our opinion, as the external auditors, the accompanying consolidated financial statements present fairly in all material or significant respects the consolidated financial position of the district as at December 31st, 25, and the results of its consolidated operations, its changes in consolidated net debt, and its consolidated cash flows for the year that ended, in accordance with what governments follow, municipal, provincial, federal governments follow, which are called the Canadian Public Sector Accounting Standards. So that paragraph and that report would be similar from municipality to municipality throughout the province and even throughout the country. So that's called a clean or unqualified audit report, meaning we don't have another section to say, however, so all good in short. So there's that page, just to start there. I'll ask that you flip to page 7. So page 7 is called the Consolidated Statement of Operations. So we'll focus really on the middle column. So the middle column would be the actual amounts for the 2025 year. To the right, you'll see the 2024 amounts. And to the left, you'll see the 2025 approved by council budget amounts. So about a third of the way down the page, you'll see the total revenues through District of Pictou Valley for the 2025 calendar year or fiscal year, one and the same, were about $3.9 million. The total expenditures were just shy of $3.5 million for a surplus under the public sector accounting standards of about $500,000. You'll see that was a bit higher than the year before. Main driver of the increase was the gas tax funding. There was more gas tax funding used in 25, and I'll speak to that a little bit further along here. But that's kind of our starting point, is another positive financial performance year in 2025. You'll see the accumulated surplus at the bottom, and we'll, again, circle back to that in a second. But a little bit more on the results. We often will take that page and then also look at that page in conjunction with loan payments that were made, capital investments that were made, that kind of thing. So almost a supplementary schedule. So again, I'll just hand those around. Thanks very much. Thanks. So not a lot of information necessarily on this page, but I think fairly key information. So that surplus number we saw on page 7 that we looked at, you'll see that in the top left-hand corner of the dollar values or dollar amounts on this schedule. So the surplus or deficit per page 7, which is what we just looked at, page 7, was at 504. You'll see what happens when we add back amortization, because amortization is an accounting term and an accounting expense in the financial statements, but it doesn't require any money to have been used. It's really just the accounting recognition of buildings, vehicles, equipment, those kinds of things, infrastructure, roads. So that number was $271,000 for the year. Loan payments were made totaling $117,000 on previous debt. And then there were capital asset expenditures or investments during 2025 totaling about $579,000. So when we kind of add and subtract the numbers on that 2025 column, you can see the surplus after capital expenditures or capital investments was about $79,000. Again, positive number. You can see that's overall been a positive. We could go back further. I guess we've got 7 years, the past 7 years there. No particular reason for 7 versus 4 or 5 or 10 or 12, but kind of what fits on a page conveniently. And you can see kind of the trend in the last 7 years as to what that looks like in terms of surplus, also in terms of what's been invested in the community for new assets, also what's gone into making payments on loans, which again, we'll talk about a little bit further. I would maybe pause there just for a second. When you see the number 579,000, you can see the new investments made in the past 7 years. 579 represents the high point in the last 7 years of new investments made. Again, some of that is to do with gas tax funding in 2025 that was put to use. I don't have a formal handout, but I wanted to give you an idea of some of the bigger dollar amounts. Now, you'll remember these, you've approved them. They have to be, keep doing what you're doing, in that the financial trend is certainly very positive. So with that, I'll maybe take another pause and see if anybody has questions related to those things or questions in general related to what the audit would have entailed or any of the things we touched on or anything I might not have touched on that you hoped to hear about.
I'd like to just comment, but first, just saying the outstanding job that the girls do with this, because they're the ones that deal with it on a day-to-day basis, every day. So I just want to applaud them.
Yep, I agree. Yes, we certainly enjoy
Yeah.
dealing with them. They do provide good information,
Yeah.
timely basis. It's, I say often, it's not a whole lot of fun. Auditors around asking, I was gonna say 20 questions, but they would probably correct me and say, try 120 questions. We do have to ask a lot of questions to get to this point. I mean, when we give that opinion, we don't do that lightly. We don't work for a couple hours on it and say, oh, everything looks like it might be all right. We'll just, come up, show up today and tell you that everything's all right. If it's not, we're responsible to kind of bring that to your attention, of course. And they do a lot of work before we get to this point, and I appreciate you mentioning that, Counselor. I often will end that at the very end, but you preempted me, and that's a good thing. Yeah, that's a good thing. I agree.
Anybody else? Go ahead.
Yes,
On page 17, where you list the long-term debt,
yes.
do you know what each one of those are for?
We would have in our file, I don't have
Okay.
top of my head necessarily, because they've been there for a while, but we would have from the origin of those loans. I can certainly get that for you.
Yeah.
And we can forward that information to Patty later today or tomorrow morning. That is a good question.
Okay, yeah.
And the notes, we call it note disclosure, the notes, what we have in there as far as the interest rate and the payment amount and when it's due, that kind of thing is kind of what is normally there, but what's never there on anybody's is kind of if that's been in place for 5 years or 9 years, whatever it is, what do we borrow the money from originally that we're paying off now? So it's a good question. I'll get you that.
I was just wondering if the first two were solely for the building that we're in.
Right.
And I know one of the other ones I think is a truck or something. But I had the question the other day that someone wanted to know what the balance was on this building that we owed. So,
Okay, yeah. So
so
no, I'll find out the kind of origin of those 4 and specifically make sure that if the response for that part isn't clear, that the part associated with the building itself is
Okay,
clear.
yeah,
Yep,
okay,
building
thank you.
Specifically.
Yeah.
Yep, thanks for asking.
You would have nothing to add to that, Patty, as far as the
Well,
ventures?
the first two on page 17 would be the arena. The other two at the bottom, one would be the fire truck and the other one would be the remainder of what the arena, when we had to refinance one. And
So-
that was all in one Rory certificate. I guess I might say that was broken down between recreation fire department and that.
So the first, second, and fourth one then would be the arena?
I'll correct myself. The first and second are the arena. The one that says 69,000, that's the fire truck. And the other one was the 4x4 for public works, sorry.
The what?
The 4x4 for public works.
Okay,
That's the
so,
9,000 one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry about that. That was
so there's just 2 then for the
Correct.
arena? Okay, thank you.
And just for information's sake, those debentures come due for the arena, for the building, when?
I don't think it's in there and I don't have it.
Yeah, one loan runs to 2037 and one runs to 2038.
Yeah, that's right there. noted.
Oh, yeah, it's in there,
Yeah.
yeah.
Good, thank you. Anybody else? Not hearing anything, Andy, you did a great job.
Okay, appreciate the listening to the whole spiel. I know it is a lot of numbers, a lot of information, but as always, I would encourage you, anything comes up, you think of after the fact, touch base with Patty and she'll have the answer, or she'll reach out to us and we'll find the answer. So thanks for having me on.
Thank you for coming up.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
Much
Thank you, Andy.
appreciated.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Good job.
Thank you. Fancy, that's fine.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, see you later.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, back to the agenda. We'll go to item number C. Carol Mars Communications, the presentation she gave last month. Communication with the public. And probably, this is probably two parts, the administration, communication, plus the communications with the district, how we get information out. So, what's the feeling on that? I've already spoken to staff about the administration emails. Anytime somebody sends an email into administration, they should receive it, mark it received, and if they have to get some more information, it shouldn't take no longer than 24 to 48 hours to get back to that person that's looking for information. You people agree to that?
Yes, I agree with that 100%.
24-hour reply standard.
Sometimes we deal with government ELG, it takes longer than 24 hours,
Oh, yeah.
that's the only problem. That's why we said 24 to 48. Governments are slow. You agree with that? That's good. Yeah.
So is this gonna be written up in some kind of a policy, or is it?
No, it can be, it could be in policy, yeah.
I think, there probably needs to be more standards than just a 24-hour reply. There's gotta be standards, I think, for follow-up. Did you see the email I sent out to everybody
Yep.
with Mark Glass?
Yep.
There was no follow-up after the original reply that took over a month. He only found out 2 weeks ago that we had awarded the contract to somebody else, and so that, to me,
No, I think we should have a
that
policy.
needs to be fixed. That,
We use a policy.
yeah, so I think it should probably, I mean, it's too late for us to do any kind of a policy now as a council.
Correct.
So I think that's got to be one of the first things on the agenda for a new council. Everybody's agreed on that?
Yeah.
I just wish that when you received that bit of information, you would have forwarded it to me as it was my portfolio.
Well, it went to the mayor, it went to the CAO, it went to the assistant CAO, it went to the recreation director. So
But it
that
never went
should have
to
been enough
portfolio.
people.
Well, it is my portfolio.
Yeah, but it should have been enough people that, you know,
That's not.
Okay, we'll drop a policy, new council, and drop a
Okay.
policy. The other part of that is communicating with the public out into the district, and that's always been a problem here. We used to have a newspaper, we don't have a newspaper. We do, I don't think we do as much talk mail now as we used to, because we have the Boeing alert.
I never get a talk mail.
No, I don't get talk mail.
With the Boeing alert, through Facebook, through social media. Any suggestions for something else?
But
Okay.
that buoyant alert, all I ever see coming through there is garbage. pickup.
Garbage,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's always been put out so
Yeah.
far.
I've had one message for garbage pickup I thought Voyant Alert was for like emergency
Right.
things.
Right.
And it
So,
would be, I think, that if there ever would something come to be, I'm sure that it would be picked up. Is my
well, yeah,
understanding.
but what system do we use then for like garbage reminders and for things that are going on and normal stuff that's not emergency, to replace the talk mail, because obviously the talk mail is not being used anymore.
Amanda, can you just speak to that, what you're doing, or,
We have the quarterly newsletters.
yes?
We also have the community calendar on our website. We have social media, we have word of mouth. We also have Simply Cast, whenever it's required to be used.
What is Simply Cast?
It is something that council brought in about probably a year ago.
How come there's no more talk mail? We can't have that anymore, or what?
Bell Alliance, since they put the 506s in front of the number, the Bell Alliance did remove that. The only way that that talk mail system would work is that if we went in and re-entered all of the phone numbers for 506 in front of us.
But we were doing that, weren't we? Because you had asked me specifically to send in my number again. And I told a lot of the seniors and the seniors group here that everybody needed to re-register their phone numbers to get on the new system.
For Simply Cast, yes.
Yeah.
That's
So-
the one that called us one morning at 6 o'clock.
Bingo.
Yeah. An
Yeah.
error. Yeah.
A glitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is that not viable anymore? People
It
just
is
aren't.
still there, it's still accessible. I guess council will have to make a decision as to what needs to be advertised,
Yeah,
other than the routes that we're already taking.
A lot of our seniors aren't on social media.
well, no, and a lot of them even don't have internet, so, to expect them to go on the website and look for stuff, I don't think that's reasonable. I think that system, maybe the new council can advertise more and get people to call their number in and get the thing going
Well,
again.
I think that can be started immediately.
Yeah, okay,
You know,
Yeah.
simply.
Yeah.
If you want to start that immediately, again, looking for numbers,
Yes, council decision.
does everybody agree with that, or?
I think we should have a sign. I think we need a sign out by the road, a digital sign that can be run from in here. And any information that the community needs to know can be put on that sign. It can be changed. It can be everything from a social to a fundraiser to whatever you want it to be, Santa Claus parade. And I think we need a good big sign right up by the road at the intersection if possible, so that people can see it coming
Yeah.
up, down from all directions. And I think if we do that, I don't know how much it costs. I think, I've been looking into it a little bit, but I haven't got enough information to go on yet. I think word of mouth, people will see that and they'll pass it on, and I think that will help a lot.
I got Melanie checking on prices on that stuff
Yeah.
also.
and I recommended that last year and was told that it wasn't doable because people would have to actually drive by to read it, so.
Well, I'm suggesting it again.
Yeah.
Because people do drive by, and if you can get it as close to the corner as possible, you can get it for people going across the Renews, people coming from the Renews,
Put it, yeah,
put it wherever people are gonna be able to
So
see
that
it.
electronic sign at the fire department that doesn't work anymore?
I'm not sure if it works, however, I do believe that the bulbs are too big for what you're going to.
It
do.
is. I contacted the fire chief about it, and he says that would not be it would be no good
it's
for
not
that
the right
purpose.
type of sign.
No.
It's not big enough for starters.
No.
Even though
And it's
the
only
school's not big
one-sided.
enough. Yeah,
Yeah.
it
It's
needs-
only one
It needs
sided.
to be a two-sided sign, it needs to be at least twice as big as the one at the school, for
Yeah.
people to really see it and notice it.
Yeah.
And if we put the money into it to get a decent one, from what I understand, we can even put like pictures of things, like when Melanie does her nice things about teas and things like that, and if we could put that on there, it would look nice.
Yeah.
But I think it's gonna require, a decent amount of money to get a decent sign.
Yep.
So I think
Well,
it's
it
well
will,
worth it.
yeah, it will.
Worth looking into, something for the new council to consider.
So communication is a big deal. You mentioned about the lack of internet, it's true. A lot of dead areas in this
Yes.
area, Rock Brook, our
Yep.
threat, a lot of dead
And
areas.
there's,
so-
yeah, and there's quite a bit of dead cell service too, so they can't even get it that way.
So it'll be interesting to see what Melanie comes back to the new council with in regards to pricing for a sign that you can run right through your computer, and I think that's the way to go.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
The sign at the end of the driveway here is fine,
Yeah.
but somebody has to go out and manually change that and hope nobody change it into something. really-
Else.
And I think too, moving forward, if we could plan events a year in advance and have it on our website, on the calendar, a year in advance, it would give people time to look and see what we have. Because when
And
people
plan
are
around it.
traveling, if I want to go on vacation, I'm not gonna go check everybody's website tomorrow. I'm gonna plan way ahead.
Councilor Eels?
Yeah, the minimum size at least 4x8, nothing any smaller. Go bigger if you want, but you want something you can read when you drive by. That's all I'm going to say. I
That
see-
one, The one in Grand Falls up by the
sign.
superstore's leased.
Oh, no, that's,
The sign
you don't think we need anything that big, do you? That's huge.
Well, that one's huge, but you're gonna have one at least a sheet of plywood size.
Yeah.
4 by 8 in order to read the
But,
thing, right?
well, I understand what she's saying, that even if it's a smaller one, they could still be leased.
They leased
Yeah.
them.
Maybe we
Yeah,
should
to
look
that.
into, see what the lease is worth, yearly lease. What's up with somebody,
Yeah.
and you don't have to worry about your own dollars.
I think a fair bit of planning needs to go into it to see what size you want, what, the various options are, but I think it's probably gonna cost just as much to mount a sign as it is to buy a sign, because you've got to put it on concrete and poles and things like that.
So maybe cheaper to lease.
It may be.
Anyway, we'll check that out. Okay, let's move on to item D. St. Andrews United Church septic system, and you all have the quote in front of you that was done up by Matt. And so he's estimating $10,000. The system that's there now has been there for, I don't know if anybody knows how long. And the top is made of cedar and it's rotten and fallen in, so they gotta have a sewer line. So that's the estimated cost. Hopefully it'll come in under that. Go ahead.
So is there a sewer line that already comes down from Main Street that maybe would go, turn the corner and go to the Home Hardware? Is there a sewer line there?
There's one down through the gully there in behind the Savies, and this will hook to it.
Okay, so they
Right
don't,
now, they just have a septic tank out back of the church.
okay, so they don't have to come all the way up to Main Street?
No,
They can hook
no.
on a lower
Going
portion?
right down the pig's ear.
Okay,
There's a gully between the Savings and that house, next house.
so if they need to hook to our system, is
Well,
that our
175 feet
responsibility to
according to
pay
this.
for it?
Pardon me?
If they want to hook to our system, the pipe that's already there, is that our responsibility to pay for that?
It is now because they're on a septic system which we own.
Oh, okay. Okay,
So it's cheaper for us to go this route
It's cheap,
than put a new
yeah.
septic tank in.
yeah, okay.
So, you see the price, what's your feeling?
I think we should go for it.
Yeah,
I don't
if
think
you're
we
gonna
have any
pay
choice.
15 for a septic system,
Yeah.
why wouldn't you pay
Also move
10 for that?
that we go with the estimate that Matt has put forward.
We moved, that was secondary.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded, anything on the question? Anything on the question? Anything on the question? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, say nay. Motion carried.
So with Home Hardware on our septic, they don't
Yeah.
have a,
Well, run us.
We'll go to item E, the added one, the Mount Carlton support. Councilor Eagles received a letter from them. I'm just gonna turn it over to him, he can explain it.
Okay, I received a letter from Amanda Ward Parrish to me as counselor of Ward 3. Hi, Bill. I am a guest service coordinator at Mount Carleton Provincial Park and also a community member of Ward 3. I'm writing today to ask you to speak to council to see if they would write a letter of support for the parks for our application to achieve International Dark Sky Place certification. This designation recognizes areas with exceptional night sky quality and a commitment to protect natural darkness. As one of the darkest and most remote regions in the Maritimes, Mount Carleton is a unique position for this recognition. We are currently a certified dark sky preserve
Yeah.
with RASC New Brunswick, but achieving international certification would help strengthen conservation efforts, support sustainable tourism, and create new opportunities for education and community engagement. I attach a sample letter of reference, and feel free to adapt it or include any perspectives that reflect your organization's connection to the park or interest in dark sky preservation. If possible, we kindly ask that the letter be submitted by May the 13th if this timeline works for you. Don't hesitate to reach out. Warm regards, Amanda Ward Parrish. So want to say that I think we should, as council, do this, send it out as ASAP to her. I've emailed the mayor and the office the copy of a letter that they're saying to write. We'll put it on the District of Toby Valley letterhead and get it out to Amanda ASAP.
Everybody agree with that?
Yeah.
I don't think we need a motion, nothing, just a letter of support. And to me, it's a no-brainer. Great.
Well, yeah, they have one designation, and
Right.
they will have the other one.
Right.
Well, yeah, it's gonna help Mount Carmel.
Well, and it'll
Yeah.
bring tourists to the area and.
Right.
Yeah, excellent.
So just before we go into closed session, I'm just going to revert back to the financial audit, 2025 audit. You've seen the audit. I want a motion to accept it.
I move we accept.
You have seconded?
I'll second.
Seconded that the 2025 audit be accepted as presented. Is there anything on the question?
May I ask who seconded that, please?
We all did.
Anything on the question? Anything on the question? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Anything nay, motion carried. Patty, is this the 5th year for Lenahan and McCain's, or where do we stand there?
Yes, the contract is done with them as of 2025 audit.
So my suggestion to council, and you guys can make up your own mind, we take it back out to tender
Yes.
For the next, yeah.
for the next 5 years.
Yep. I agree with that.
Yeah.
We done that last time and we saved.
Safe eventually, yeah.
I think it's just good business practice to do that.
Mm.
So I would entertain a motion that we
Go for price.
looking for a price for auditors.
I move that we, put the need for an auditor back up for tender.
I'll second.
Go to the second, any other question? Anything on the question? Anything on the question? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any say nay, motion carried. So at this time, I entertain a motion to go into a closed session.
Can I just say something?
Yes,
in the close?
yes.
Because I know everybody's gonna leave.
Yes.
Joanne, it's been an honor
I'm
serving with you
getting
the
that.
last 3
Yep.
years.
Thank you, Lord.
Yeah.
And I would say the same thing to Gary.
And Gary.
And Gary, yes.
Joanne's in my board, so we're cohorts, what can I
I'm
say?
gonna do that later, but that's good. So Gary, thank you.
Yes.
You've been here a long time. Thank you, Joanne. The help file was big help. Excellent work. And I just want to wish everybody else good luck in the election. I want to wish everybody that's running a good luck. I think this is one of the first times I've seen the list this big. It's great for democracy.
It's healthy.
The voters are never wrong. So on May 12th, whatever they choose, that's fine. That's good. That's democracy.
Yeah.
Okay? And entertain the motion, go in closed session.
Did you already do that?
No.
No, we
No.
didn't.
No.
But
I
I
move
move that we
going-
went to closed session.
No seconder?
Second.
Moving to second, any other question? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any say nay, motion carried.
Who seconded that?
I did. I did.
Gary.
Very good.
Okay.
I did.
She got Tony.
Thank you very much.
She got Tony.
Thanks for coming. Okay.
Yeah.
See ya.